We've got Mr. Bakari here from Afra Invest, and yes, let's just go straight to the point. Tell us exactly how we contracted from 3% to 1.1% as we have in the GDP numbers that came in a few days ago.
Okay, as we are aware, our Greek GDP growth slowed to 1.1% from about, say, 3% we had in Q1 2018. And that was a very, very disappointing performance and below expectations. But it is not, completely out of the picture of what we've been seeing recently, say, in fruit planting regions in the Middle Belt and as well as in northern Nigeria. So what we had was really the slowdown in agri really reflected what happened in crop production. So in crop production is about over 85% of the agri sector, and we saw a sharp moderation there from about 3% as well to around 1.3. Similarly, in livestock production, we saw a contraction. So livestock production has been contracting for a while now. It contracted in Q1, in Q2, and as well in Q2. So basically, we think all these mirror what we've been seeing and what we've been, talking about. Say the events we've been seeing in North Central Nigeria, where we've seen continuous conflict between farmers and herdsmen. So we think these are the factors that really, really affected agriculture in Q2.
So will it be right to say that we actually saw more of these headsmen and farmers clashes this year than we saw in 2017? Because if you look at the numbers again, last year, Q2 2017 data showed that we grew by 3.01%.
Yeah, of course, we think the events, the spate of those conflicts have continued to intensify. And as well, global monitoring agencies tracking insecurity in North Central, they've always recorded, several conflicts, several, attacks in those regions, and they've reported it consistently. So, furthermore, we also have events happening apart from, the farmer-herdsman clash, you have other events happening in food planting regions in northern Nigeria. There's a continuous displacement of farmers you have in those regions. So some of the monitoring agencies in the Northeast, for instance, continuously record, increases in, say, internally displaced persons moving into camps. So, and in the northern Nigeria, we have about 1.8 million currently displaced people, and we know the main occupation in the north is agric. So we believe these are the factors that have affected agric output.
It is an agrarian area, actually. But we also know that this administration has really enjoyed a lot of support in terms of support for agric sector now from multilateral agencies, AFDB, the World Bank, the government itself within has been really, really committed to the resuscitation of agriculture by way of intervention.
Yeah.
How much of this would you say really impacted that space, this period of Q2 2018?
Okay, so it is very hard to put a number to it, but we know, like you said, there has been continuous intervention in the sector to support agric through, credit facilities as well as input supply, say fertilizers and co.
Yeah.
So it is hard to really separate the events, what we've been seeing in agric from these interventions. So, for instance, we can reasonably state that the slowdown we saw was affected by, lack of, those funding. So we believe, those fundings have continued to support agric output. In the case that if government had not channeled, enough funding into the sector, probably the output growth we saw might have been worse than that. So in our opinion, we think government support has been helpful to the sector. However, there are other factors beyond, provision of credit facilities.
Okay,
the major factor confronting farmers now is majorly insecurity. So, and what we've seen is, so we have herdsmen coming coming closer to the south to for their livestock. So, and we saw that in the process of doing that, there has been conflict between, the herdsmen and the farmers. So this has resulted into, killings, displacement of farmers, killing of livestock, a decline in, say, agric output, destruction of farmlands and all. So these are really, and so far government has not, put together a coherent strategy to actually, ease the conflict in these regions. So it is still elevated now, and we think beyond, supporting the sector with funding, these are areas government has to look into in the short term to sustain agric output.
Do you think there's more that the federal government can actually do? Because the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development is on one hand, and we know the CBN is on the other hand, doing a whole lot in terms of its program via NISRA, the Anchor Borrower Scheme.
Yeah, absolutely. We think government should do better. While the funding support is good, there are also other factors that will come into play, other long-term factors. As we are aware, there's climate change, so there's ongoing, drought is intensifying. There is more, incidence of, say, diseases that will affect agri output, and which our farmers are not equipped to deal with. So, all this require government, intervention to sustain the sector. Not to mention the very low labor productivity in the agri sector. So, this is one of the areas we believe government could look into as well. So persistently low productivity that has been characterizing the agri sector has not been dealt with. And in most cases, it is not really a matter of funding.